Now, the rest of the story.
Alright, you guys have found the giveaway video. If you want a chance to win this Gleaner S98 Stealth Series, you know, kind of odd seeing a Gleaner on a John Deere only channel, right? But leave your comment down below, and we'll be announcing a winner here probably right around Sunday morning. So good luck to everybody, and I'll see you at the rest of the video. Alright, welcome back. Well, I'm going to start. Well, this is my first attempt for getting my side dressing done for this year. I can tell you, spoiler alert for the video, but I do end up getting rained out. So I only get the strip that I'm going to be heading over and working on here during this video done. I'm not done at the home farm as far as getting that cultivated, but this tender trailer did show up, and I would much like to really get my corn, as much of my corn done before the rain that we got. Because at least now, even though I am going through and covering up all the product I'm putting down, it is nice knowing that the rain's going to wash it into the roots. That's a close-up look of the stuff I'm putting down. Looks like some pretty nasty stuff in there bubbling around, and that stuff flows like syrup. My cultivator, my pump that I have, doesn't really like it. And you can see, if you look out the back of the cultivator, you can see the lines of the product coming out the back. I did that in part for you, in part for me, make sure that everything, all the rows were running when I went and started. That stuff, the product that we're using, I did actually dilute it down a little bit, because to run it, the motor, the pump, slow enough to get the rate that I need, I am not running out a consistent line of product. And it's kind of surging, so I'm getting, or I was getting before I thinned it out and turned the pump up, but I was actually getting where I was running, so you'd say a foot of product, and then it'd skip like 2 inches, and then run a foot, and then you'd skip 4 inches. Like, it wasn't running out consistently, because I wasn't, in part probably because the stuff was so heavy, and secondly because I was only running the pump on 2%, you know, out of 100. I ended up thinning it out, and I ended up running the pump right around 6 at 60%, and it was running a lot more consistently, which is exactly what I want to see. Now, I am running some corn over. That is the life, it's the cost, the price you pay at cultivating. I mean, I would really like to not run any corn over, but to address that, when I first started cultivating, even before I was doing any side dressing, when I first started doing it, I used to grind my teeth seeing the corn that I was running over. Just, oh my gosh, that's going to hurt my yield. That's all those 2 plants that you run over, and the handful of plants that you actually do run over when you're turning around. It seems like a lot, and over a few hundred acres, yeah, it does start to add up, but your headlands, they tend to get run through anyway. You can see I'm knocking down 2 to 4 plants per row that I'm running through, but the benefit overall throughout the rest of the field outweighs the few plants that you're running down. I mean, you can see it looks absolutely terrible there, but from what I've seen in the combine, I've seen a 25-30 bushel yield difference from areas of the field where I was side dressing. I was putting down this product, or any product, whatever for that matter, compared to parts of the field where I was just cultivating, or parts of the field even worse yet, slightly worse yet, where I wasn't cultivating at all, wasn't side dressing, wasn't putting anything down. So after doing this for a couple years, I've definitely been a little bit more calloused from doing it. You just accept in your mind that you're going to run plants over, but the stuff looks awesome. It looks so much better once you go through and cultivate it. The plants seem to perk up from it. We've said it in the past. Grandpa has said it. Dad has said it, that you can almost see it from one day to the next, that the plants literally look like they jump at least 6 inches to a foot from going through and cultivating it. Grandpa's reasoning was, you are opening the soil up. You can get a really good look right there that ground is all cracked up and it's basically as hard as concrete. I mean, I can go out and jump up and down on the stuff, and it's like jumping up and down on the pavement outside. You're opening that up. You're getting air able to penetrate down to the roots, so the plants are getting air to the roots again. It is stirring up any of the chemicals that were there that were put down in our first pass with the sprayer. It was also allows the moisture to penetrate down into the soil. It absorbs a little bit more readily when that crust is busted up, and it allows to soak into the soil. And I guess that's kind of a touchy subject as far as saying it's going to penetrate down into the soil, because from what I understand, this year I'm starting to hear a black swan event for the amount of moisture and the amount of crops and the amount of acres that either didn't get planted, the amount of crops that are damaged from being planted too wet, too muddy, or have been planted and then simply just got flooded out, rained out. I'm starting to hear a lot of that from the south of us. Maybe I should be taking a little bit of a road trip to the south. Illinois, I guess Ohio was really bad too. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. I'm hearing that there's a lot of bare fields that aren't planted at all, and I'm hearing that there's a lot of fields that are planted that just look terrible. So it's one of those things you have to see to believe. I go on New Ag Talk probably more than I should, but you do see people posting pictures on there that I wouldn't want to live through in 100 years of farming. I mean, literally, you see pictures of like Minnesota or Canada where there's just lakes everywhere, and you know it's in a forest. It's not necessarily in an ag field or crop ground, and then you realize that all those lakes are farms. They're fields. There's buildings, and you get down some of that flat ground, the moisture, the water has nowhere to go. My friend Ryan says the exact same thing. Yeah, it'd be nice not to be always have to run these hills and everything else like that. I mean, you have to watch for slope and you worry about erosion. But at least for the most part, it can dry out, it will dry out, and you get a chance to at least get something in the ground. Yes, we did go through, and you're probably going to hear it for the rest of the year about what is really unique for us this year compared to the past. We put our corn in a very short amount of time, at least for us. Running with a 12-row, if we had a 6-row, we'd been in a world of hurt. But we ran a week straight. We started on Monday night, ran pretty much around the clock. I ran all Monday night. Tuesday morning, I planted this field, got done here about 10. Dad took over from 10. He ran until 8 o'clock the next morning. I took over, ran until, what was it? 6 o'clock that night. And then Dad switched over because we switched back to one of his farms. And Dad ended up running again. So we ended up running until Friday night like that, and we finally got rained out. We actually avoided a pretty bad storm. You guys saw that live stream I posted a while back. Exactly that. We were dodging rain for at least 2 of those days that we were planting. The 2 of the last days that we were planting before we did finally get rained out, the weatherman was literally pushing the rain back 2 hours at a time. So if it was calling for rain at noon, we planted all the way up till noon, and then we'd check the weather again, and 2 o'clock, so we'd plant for another 2 hours, and it did that for about 2 days straight. We got really lucky. We were told that we planted our crops pretty much in looking back, the ideal planting conditions. A lot of the crops that were planted in late April, early May, I don't think anybody planted early May around here just because it was that wet, but any of that early corn, it was planted in cold conditions. It had cold rain on it. The plants really didn't like that. And when we did it, it wasn't ideal. We were still hearing that the ground was anywhere from the low 50s to mid 60s, depending on where you're at or where you're hearing it from. But it really does get to a point, are you going to plant it or are you not? And I absolutely do not want to plant anything in June. The handful of times where I've had to plant beans in June, I absolutely hated myself. And to be honest, looking back, even planting our beans this year in the conditions we had, even planting our corn this year in the conditions we had, got to be honest, you did kind of feel sick to your stomach going through and putting seeds in the ground. And I gotta go. I guess got a phone call. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, guys. I have another video hopefully coming out tomorrow if I can get her uploaded. And I'll talk to you guys then. So until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch.